What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. I'm Drew Mosley, that's Scott Savage, and you can join us at InsideTheGame.ca, our YouTube channel at Inside the Game Official, our FAST channel over on Rad TV, other TV streaming networks around the globe like Roku, Amazon Prime, Samsung Plus, Jinx Esports TV, ESTV, and a whole lot more. But if you don't want the video version and you want us in your earbuds, then head over to our friends over at Fired Up Network. We're over there on 212 platforms around the globe. So we are basically everywhere for you. Scott, what are we talking about today on the show?
We have our reaction as the Assassin's Creed Red character art has come to light. I'm very excited, if you can't tell. There is a Far Cry extraction shooter being talked about. I'm a little nervous, and Connie Booth is set to leave PlayStation. There's a bit of a mystery there.
There certainly is, and we'll be breaking that down. Scott, before we get to it, though, we've got a review dropping today. Ghost Runner 2 is now live. Make sure you check that out. It's over on Rad. It's over on our YouTube channel. So swing by, check those out. Because, well, Scott and Corey had a couple things to say, but we got a couple things to say about Assassin's Creed Red. Let's go. Scott, topic number one has me rather excited, dude. I love Assassin's Creed, and well, Assassin's Creed Red female Shinobi character art revealed. But there comes with more details. Let's get into it. Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming. Character art of the female Shinobi that features in Assassin's Creed codename Red has seemingly been leaked. The image was spotted on the LinkedIn profile of senior writer Pierre Bourdeau by the Twitter account Access the Animus. Why would they put that there, Scott, on your LinkedIn profile? Man, oh man. As reported exclusively by Insider Gaming, Assassin's Creed Red will feature two playable characters for the series slated in 2024 entry. One is a female Shinobi, as shown in the leaked character art and the official codename Red Tease, and the other is a male African samurai, who is theorized to be based on a real-life samurai Saki. And I nailed that wrong. Yosuke, thank you. I knew as soon as I said that, dude, I was off. Officially, Ubisoft has only revealed the Assassin's Creed Red will take place in feudal Japan. Insider Gaming has learned that in Assassin's Creed Red is set to focus on stealth, taking features and inspiration from the likes of Splinter Cell series. Oh, yeah.
That has me excited.
Yeah, for example, players will be able to use shadows to conceal themselves, as well as extinguish torches to stay in the dark, similar to those shooting lights in Splinter Cell. Enemy bodies can also be picked up and moved into hard-to-find locations. You can read more on Assassin's Creed Red. Elsewhere, codename Red is set to be the next mainline entry in the Assassin's Creed series, with several more mainline entries in development. Assassin's Creed Hexi is understood to be released in 2026, with several more projects in development. Here's the thing, Scott. We had Mirage this year. Dude, the return to form, it felt like, right? Dude, it was a little slice of heaven for me, I gotta be honest. It felt so good to be back in the old school stealth and have that familiar tone from Assassin's Creed, like Altair to Ezio days, and then now we're kind of caught up to Mirage. We've seen the evolution of Assassin's Creed over time go from the stealth to the more open, bombastic, in your face, kind of with Origins had a little bit of stealth, and then it went to Odyssey, which really changed it, and then it went to Valhalla, which really changed it, right? So there's a big step away from there when you got into Valhalla. Dude, I always talk about how you blow your horn, right, when you do your raid. Cool feature. I get it. It's a Viking time period. That's what they did. But you lost all aspects of stealth. I would go in, take out everybody I could in the camp, and then blow my horn, right? It was just...
bothers me so much. Imagine Sam Fisher just infiltrates the zone and then lets off a couple shotgun rounds into the air just to let you know. Yeah, that bothers me.
It's just like grabbing a microphone, dude, and just yo, I'm here. Let's go. Yeah, it doesn't really work, right? So, but again, when you take a look at the numbers for Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is one of the biggest Assassin's Creed games ever. So it's hard to argue with that formula when it works. Here we go with Red. So next year we get Red, 2024, right? We had Assassin's Creed Mirage this year, 2023. Red comes in 2024. Hexi to be slated for 2026. Dude, that's a 2-year gap. If you notice, Valhalla came out and then it had 2 years worth of content. Are we getting that with Red?
It sounds like it could be possible, and that would be really nice for big, longtime fans, because we've been waiting for this Japanese focused one for so long. I would definitely like to spend a little bit extra time in there.
Absolutely. I think if we can get that return to form what we had with Mirage, but upscaled a little bit, right? Red is supposed to be the next RPG-esque for Assassin's Creed to get into and get into that discussion a little bit further when it comes to Odyssey and Valhalla. Even Origins had some of it starting to kind of form and take shape. And then by the time you got to Valhalla, dude, it was all RPG, right? And it was funny because when if you check out a review of Mirage, actually, I don't know if Corey was talking about that or we talked about it off camera. Dude, it all blends together so many times. But Corey's like, dude, I kind of missed the RPG element from Valhalla for Mirage.
Oh, really?
Excuse me. Yeah, so what he was doing was he said he'd kind of go out, but he wanted to upgrade stuff. You can upgrade so many things, but really, I have one sword I used and one dagger, and that was it. Where when you're in Valhalla, you're constantly flipping out this and that and this and that, upgrading this tier, upgrading that gear. This, you know, where here it was like your throwing knives, you can upgrade your throwing knives, and then you use different tiers. I like the smaller honed in experience, but I also know what he means by, I wouldn't mind like a little bit to grind a little bit more for, right? And a little bit more here or a little bit over there. And I think that's what we're going to get into Red. All of a sudden now you're going to have different stats when it comes to swords going, okay, this is going to give you a perk here, but it's going to downgrade you over here. Often what happens in RPGs. And then it will have different things to go craft and such like that. They had a little small touch of that in Mirage, and I appreciated it, dude. But I'm still not 100% that game yet. I am almost there. I am 11 achievements off from 100%ing that game. I'm 40 hours in and still having a blast. Like, I can't.
I think Ubisoft has proven that they can make a great action RPG. But I'm a little worried that it's just taking the space of Assassin's Creed a little bit too much in this particular title, exactly, because we did get the return to form with Mirage. But
yeah,
I'm worried that I like the idea of upgrading my armor and stuff like that, but I'm thinking of it's too much like Diablo, where Corey is a big fan of Diablo.
Sure.
So that makes sense, but I have a new fear unlocked. What if there's a condition bar? Your sword has broken.
Oh no. Oh man.
That would be an uninstall for me.
That's it.
Right there.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like it. Dude, I didn't like it in Zelda.
Zelda did it to me.
It's horrible, man. I can't stand that feature, but I understand it as well, right? A lot of survival games have that element. You can only use it for so long, and then it breaks down over time. And then sure enough, it just doesn't work anymore, right? So all of a sudden now you have a busted sword. So I hope they don't bring that. We are stealth. Like, if they're going into the world of stealth, extinguishing, dude, it's kind of like Thief. Remember back in the day where you shoot out the torches? Yo.
Yeah, how are they going to do that where you can't shoot out torches unless there's a water arrow? How silly are we getting into the...
Japan, man. It is arrows, it is shurikens, right? I can see us having throwing knives. Swords are definitely going to play an element in there, but if they're going to focus on stealth, and we can take out torches and lights and stuff, that's something we don't have in Assassin's Creed. The lighting is a lighting, and that is it. So this will be the first time in Assassin's Creed where you'll be able to go in and then like kind of hone in on the light source itself and take it out, and so you can stay in the shadows, which I appreciate. So man, I don't know, I'm pretty excited. But Red is coming next year. When do you think we get it? We had Mirage is it last month or this month? Man, I can't keep up anymore. It was just at the beginning of this month. Yeah, it was at the beginning of this month, just at the beginning of October. We're already at the end of October. It's crazy how much time flies, man. We've had so many good games this year. Curious to see how next year lines up. But do we get it in the same window, or do we get it earlier? Do we get it in the summertime? What do you think, Scott?
I'd expect the same kind of window. Beginning of Q4, I suppose we're at now. Yeah. I think that's kind of typical for an Assassin's Creed, as late as a November launch.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I think we're probably in around the end of September, early October as well. Probably the same time frame. They kind of like to build up towards the holiday season, right? So
yeah,
we'll see. But don't forget, we also have Avatar coming this month or next month. Nope, December. Man, oh man, we're getting there. It is coming as well, right? And then what else are we getting next year? We're getting Prince of Persia for sure, and another Assassin's Creed game. Skull and Bones, perhaps.
Maybe.
We'll see. Either way, Assassin's Creed Red, we're definitely excited. God. Sorry, all right. I was just checking to see who did the first article, and sure enough, it's Tom again. All right. Scott, Tom Henderson apparently has all the scoops as Far Cry's multiplayer game is an extraction-based shooter. Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming. A second Far Cry game is in development, and it's an extraction-based multiplayer shooter completely separate from Far Cry 7, Insider Gaming has learned. As reported in January 2023, Ubisoft is working on 2 individual Far Cry projects headed up by Ubisoft Montreal. Well, both... Dude, I didn't see anything when I was there. That kind of hurts. Well, both games were under the same banner several years ago, under the codename Talisker. Management changes... Oh, man. Management changes is a big thing over Ubisoft right now. And the game's scope changed direction. The result was 2 Far Cry projects. Far Cry 7, which is Ubisoft's next mainline title, and is internally known as Project Blackbird, while its multiplayer game is called Project Maverick. Both games are now completely separate entities, while Maverick morphing into a Far Cry extraction-based multiplayer experience. It's understood that the Far Cry multiplayer project has changed scope several times over its several-year development cycle, with Ubisoft now set on the game being an extraction-based shooter set in a fictional Alaskan setting named Alashkina?
Yeah. Alashnika. That sounds like a Russian version of Alaska.
Yeah. I was like, yo, they're just, whatever. They're just playing off of it. The game's lore revolves around the player being lured into the region with promise of freedom, only to discover a land of chaos with trust between people being virtually non-existent. The true Far Cry In the true Far Cry fashion, players will need to search the environment for resources in order to survive. Resources including killing animals for leather to make gear, finding chemicals to make gadgets, harvesting plants for medical supplies, and finding weapon parts and bullet castings for weapons and ammo. The game features a hideout, which is your base of operations and your safe place to stash your gathered items, gear, gadgets, and more. It's understood that this new Far Cry game is not only a solo experience, but can be team-based experience with teammates sharing the same hideout and loot. Interesting. As expected in the extraction-based shooter, the game loop is focused on gathering gear, leveling up, and purchasing perks. Although sources were unable to deep dive into what perks entail, it was said that they directly tie into the leveling system. To level up, players will need to complete in-game contracts, challenges, so they can purchase perks. Maverick is a high-risk, high-reward game, with permadeath enabling, meaning if the player dies, they lose everything including gear, perks, and levels. The only thing the player gets to keep is the items stored in the hideout. While we do suggest caution on the dates, due to Ubisoft's tendency and internal delays, Insider Gaming understands that the game is currently scheduled to be released before Far Cry 7. Really? The release date is currently penciled and for April 2025, Sky.
Oh, still quite a while away.
Oh man, that is, yeah. When did Far Cry 6 come out?
Oh, that's hard for me to remember now.
I'm checking. I'm on it.
Yeah, I could hazard a guess, but it's been long enough now that it's receded into the fog of memory.
Oh man, absolutely, that was long gone. October 7th, 2021, dude, 2 years ago.
Oh, wow, it was 2. I was thinking it was 1.
Yeah. So there we go. Far Cry 6 came out 2 years ago. So really, if they base this in 2025, it kind of lines up, give or take, right? That's not so bad. I bet you by the time they're finishing up on 6, they were already in development and plans for 7. And then 7's when they just kind of separated and diversed into a separate single-player game and then the extraction shooter. What are your thoughts on this extraction-based shooter?
I think it could be an interesting idea, but I think it's a little bit too late now. And I think that's reflected a little bit in the way that this has kind of changed direction over the last little while. It's kind of redial what they want to get out of a multiplayer game, and I think that's a little bit of trend chasing, and it has me a little concerned.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think I like the idea, though, honestly, of a Far Cry extraction shooter. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Vigor, but a little bit different, because if they bring that Far Cry formula, right, I think it kind of lines up for a good extraction shooter. Kind of has me excited. Maybe we can get a bit of a hiatus on extraction shooters, so when this does come around, there is some more hype that they can build, right? Finally back into another, I say another, but a new extraction shooter. Because really right now, when you take a look at extraction shooters, what do we have, Scott? Anything? Anything right now?
Nothing that really even comes to mind. There's the Battlefield.
Hazard Zone? So there's Hazard Zone.
Yes.
Vigor's still around, technically. I don't
Oh,
really.
it is still active, I hope. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we've seen a lot of them shutter. Scavengers comes
Oh,
to mind.
man.
That's the one that hurt me.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of them come and go, and I'm just kind of wondering, can this find the player base? We heard that they were separating and going into a multiplayer version of the game. We didn't realize it was an extraction shooter. The idea that we have a shared base is kind of cool too. So if I'm playing a little bit more throughout the day than you are, then hey, maybe we can share our resources, right? And I wonder if they take the Vigor mentality too, because at Vigor you go back, you gather all your resources, and then you upgrade your base. Can we do that with Far Cry's multiplayer extraction shooter? It'd be cool.
I like that. I like that idea. I think that idea needs to be worked into a lot of different extraction shooters. I'm just wondering if that extraction shooter little subgenre is going to last for very long. We've seen too many come and go and shut down. It seems late to get into the game now. But then again, what's the next thing? The video game industry is always chasing that. So maybe extraction shooter is around for a while.
Maybe they just haven't seemed to find their true foothold, right? I think wonder if that's kind of, maybe they haven't found that quick loop. A lot of it was, remember Team Deathmatch was like the big rave back in the day? Like everybody's like, man, 4 versus 4, 5 versus 5, and we just go out and shoot each other down. And again, you still have Call of Duty, but now you've even seen Call of Duty implement a battle royale. So they're evolving as well. Zombies are back, right? So there's a lot of that kind of coming on. Is this enough for the community to keep alive? Dude, if this works well, and I'm going out there and I just want to go out, what's another one we just, anyways, I'll stick on topic. Dude, welcome to Off the Rails today, I'm telling you. It is, I like the idea of going out and not have to worry about actually hunting the other team. I just want to go, I need a couple pelts. I'm going to go out, skin some animals, come back, loot up, get my gear, kind of build up for the next one, right? We need that Escape from Tarkov feeling, I think, on the console platforms. I think maybe Ubisoft and Far Cry are the ones that are able to give us that feeling. Again, right? Take a look at Vigor. I think Vigor was really good. The Cycle is another one that was PC only. I was hoping would come to console, but never did. Instead, dude, they shut it down.
Yeah, it just got shut down. You know, all of this talk reminds me of The Last of Us multiplayer.
Oh,
if that becomes an extraction shooter by the time we see it,
man, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna see it. I think The Last of Us multiplayer is dead. They've downsized the team, which is never a good thing. You don't downsize a team to launch a brand new title, right? Like that's not how that works. You downsize to go, I don't think this is gonna work. Unless there's some miracle that they're able to pull off and fix it. But man, this is The Last of Us, right? Naughty Dog, it's their biggest IP. You don't mess up your biggest IP. You keep the fans involved. You keep the fans hungry and starving for more, and then make sure when it does drop that it's fantastic. And if The Last of Us multiplayer just downsized their team over there at Naughty Dog, dude, this isn't fantastic, and I don't think we're getting it at all. Maybe they'll be able to revitalize it somehow, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it sounds like we're going to get this one in 2025. So, new extraction shooter. Let us know over on Twitter, the official ITG. Does this have you excited? Got some news with breaking last night with David Jaffe going off, and we're wondering what is going on. And it sounds like we're getting into the weed of it. This is just the start, though. We'll find out full, as PlayStation hasn't really confirmed anything. Longtime PlayStation producer Connie Booth has reportedly left Sony. Chris Scullion over at VGC had this to say. PlayStation's head of internal production, Connie Booth, is reportedly no longer at Sony. Former Sony employee David Jaffe, who created the God of War, never heard of it, and Twisted Metal series, tweeted on Sunday that there was some, quote, sad, frustrating, potentially super disrespectful news, end quote, on the way that would mean, quote, the Sony we all came up with is mostly dead, end quote. Jaffe later confirmed that he was referring to Booth's departure, something that is yet to be officially confirmed by either Booth or Sony. Booth has been at Sony since the early days of PlayStation and has been involved in the production of over 100 games, starting with the original Crash Bandicoot, where she was a senior producer. Over the years, she's been involved in production on such series as Spyro the Dragon, Siphon Filter, Ratchet & Clank, SOCOM, Uncharted, Jak and Daxter, Infamous, Resistance, Sly Cooper, The Last of Us, Spider-Man, Death Stranding, and Ghost of Tsushima. Dude, those are some titles.
Yeah, I challenge you to find a resume more impressive.
Man, That is unbelievable. She was also inducted in the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences Hall of Fame in 2020 because she was, quote, an integral in helping produce many beloved SIE titles over the past 25 years, end quote. In a video discussing the situation, Jaffe said he had previously only been told Booth had left by people working inside Sony, but has since had the news, quote, verified from people outside of Sony, end quote, and therefore felt comfortable discussing it. It should be noted that despite his video referring to, quote, the axe falling, end quote, on Booth, Jaffe later says that he has no idea why Booth has seemingly left the company and that she could have chosen to leave herself. Quote, here's what I can tell you, end quote, Jaffe says in the video, quote, she is no longer at Sony. I don't have a lot of details. I don't know if she was fired or laid off. When I heard the story was telling me she was fired, and then I heard that her team was also walked out of the building. I don't know if she's just someone being dramatic or if that actually happened, end quote.
Yeah,
Scott,
you don't generally get an escort for good reason.
No. So there's a lot of there's just a lot of speculation going on right now. Nobody really knows why. Take this and take with a grain of salt. This has come from David Jaffe, who's got sources, but nothing's ever been confirmed, right? So we're still waiting on that. This is one of the reasons why we're talking about Connie right now, because she is such a staple over at PlayStation, and we want to keep on the hot topic of what's going on, because I'm sure we're going to hear more in the rest of the week ahead of us. But she's been there for 34 years, right? Jim Ryan, same thing, decided to leave now, right? He's decided to pack it in. After 34 years, maybe Connie's just like, yo, I'm done. I'm out.
It's certainly possible, yeah. After a long and storied history, that would make sense. There's a huge economic downturn right now. We're seeing a lot of layoffs, and perhaps there was some pressure there to make some layoffs, and this was an alternative option. Really hard to say, but hopefully we got more details on it.
No, absolutely. She's worked on some of the most incredible titles that ever come out of PlayStation, right? So maybe she's just coming off of such a well-loved opportunity that she just kind of had enough. She doesn't need to be there anymore. She's like, you know what? I've done this, and this. In 34 years, they are, if we've seen like industry-wide, there's layoffs all over the place. Or maybe, like Jaffe said, sounds like maybe her whole department got walked out. You never quite know. But as we find more and kind of get into the weeds and the thick of it, we'll hopefully get to the bottom of what's really going on. There are definitely some people out there with some inside scoops and some knowledge. We'll keep a look over for Tom and see what he has to say. But either way, Connie, man, huge departure if this is really true over at Sony. Scott, it's just a small list for a Monday. How many games are we playing today?
Yes, we have the three. We have Jano Panic on PC. 3 minutes till 8 on PC. Confused myself with another title there. And Vengeance of Mr. Peppermint on PC.
Nice. And that'll wrap up today's show, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'm Drew. That's Scott.
We'll see you inside the game.